Before we begin, please be advised that this show may contain some adult themes and language that may not be suitable for all listeners. Now, onto our show. Welcome to the Sippin Saga Society, where we cover histories, mysteries, and overall weird-ass shit. My name is Karina, your host, your best friend, and joining us today, we have Christina and Nevada. Woo!
Hello.
Welcome back. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus from recording and putting out episodes for the holidays, and I'm super excited to be recording again. I am very pumped. I've been harassing the girls and being like, guys, this episode is going to be so fun and I'm so excited. Um, but anyway, oh wait, did I ever tell you guys what the topic was?
No,
No.
Colton asked me. And I was like, it's a surprise.
Well, first, Nev, what are you drinking?
Oh my gosh, Karina, you inspired me. So also just like a quick detour. I went to this new tequila bar here in South Dakota or Sioux Falls called Delilah. So it's just like Mexican food and tequilas. Like they have an extensive selection. They had a martini, like an espresso martina, but with tequila. So I decided to make that tonight after you were like, I'm having what I'm having. And I was like, fuck. So I made it with Kahlua, tequila, the cold brew from Coffea, which is a coffee shop up here, and then just like a little bit of like sugar-free vanilla creamer.
Oh, that sounds
Oh,
nice.
that does sound really pleasant.
It's so good. It's better than vodka.
Oh, good. It'd be terrible if you were like, it's actually complete shit and I hate it. Like, I'd be like, damn,
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
that's sad.
The one I had at Delilah's though,
Mm.
yeah.
I had
anyway.
one at a little restaurant around here and it was really, really, really good. Like, I really
Mm.
enjoyed it. All right,
And then
Tina.
water.
Oh, of course, health.
So you guys get raspy Christina today. I sound a lot different, so apologies.
Sultry.
But I have my little gnome Christmas man mug, and I'm just drinking some green tea with some honey. And I also have a water, and I'm just gonna try to survive today.
Reba plays in the background. Anyway, today I have a cold brew with rum chata in it because I live for health and I've been sleepy all day. I've also been sick, so if I sound different, that's it. It's the congestion. Any guesses on what the topic is today, out of curiosity?
Are we following heroic women or like what the fuck? Women in Minfields vibe? Because
I don't know if I would call it that.
is
So,
it murderous? Sorry.
no-ish.
No-ish?
Ish.
Is it
Wait,
about pioneers?
how is there an ish in that?
I know, I'm like, what?
Okay, it's not
You
like
partial murder?
I only half murdered them. It's fine.
They didn't fully commit. They couldn't fully commit to it.
Yeah, half-assing murder. The podcast.
I changed my mind halfway through.
I actually don't want to do this.
Quick 180.
No, so today we're not covering a serial killer. We were going to be covering the history of prehistoric women.
Ooh, Ooh, okay.
I know, yeah.
Like cavemen?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh,
So
that sounds fun.
it's so exciting. Because, people existed before civilization was a thing, right? And I
Yeah.
think we forget that. We like to forget that we are animals, which, right, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we like to think that we are above nature
Yeah.
instead of remembering that we came from and are part of nature. And it doesn't matter how many buildings we put up, we still are part of nature.
We're primal.
Exactly. So I think when most of us picture cavemen, it's always a man with a club and a woman just tending the fire because women don't leave the house and we just are supposed to be, I think that we have lived with that rhetoric of the man provider and protector and woman just sitting at home with 400 kids and cooking the meat that the man brought home because like that's what we do, right? Like, am I wrong? Is that not the you're picturing the caveman, you're picturing him going out ooga booga, coming back in with like a jaguar he killed and the wife's cooking it. Like that is how we think of cave people. Am
Yes.
I wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
We are the
So
pickers. We pick berries and we tend children.
I picked like 2 berries and then I had 14 kids. I did before 20 because that's how they do,
I
you
mean,
know?
hey, if you're gonna have a lot of kids, the cave is the place to have it if it's big enough. Caves are big.
Caves are big.
And they
You
have extra
probably,
rooms.
yeah, you lose your kids and shit.
And as you get old, you need kids to take care of you. Like, I mean,
Yeah, facts.
critical, critical.
So basically, the story is just centering around the man,
Oh,
going out, going for hunting, and then coming back. But women have always had their own history that most historians have chosen to forget because we focus
her,
on the man.
her
And
Yeah.
just
story.
before we get started, I really want to reiterate that I'm not trying to be like man hating, but I'm just trying to emphasize and like just showcase that women are more than what we have been allowed to see because history and education has always been ruled by white men.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, like, that is just the truth of the world. So, for maybe some of this will be very, like, it seemed very man bashy, but I would just, maybe the opposite and say it's holding the woman up instead of pushing her back down. And I think
Preach it, sister.
that is the society that we need to move towards. I think that is why, I mean, I have a lot of feelings about it, but I'm just saying this is how it is. So, this year, overall, as a podcast, our mission is to focus on stories of strong and inspirational women overall because we want to provide a sense of community through history. We are not the only people that have ever lived in the world. There's so much more that went before us. And I think when we look back and we remember those moments, it makes us remember that we're able to go through more than what we think we can. And we are not the only humans to have ever experienced unprecedented times. And we can make it together, but we have to be together. And I think that that is the message that I would like to have as a podcast and as a whole. And so if you, our listener, have any stories that follow along those paths, please let us know so that we can highlight those people and give more messages of hope instead of just trying to live in the on fire dumpster that is the world today. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, you two.
No, I think you hit it pretty well. It's easy to get caught up in that day to day of what might feel heavy and what might feel impossible. But when we look back in history, we can see people who banded together and who created spaces to prevail over dark times. And I hope that you can find a little light when you come to the podcast and know that we're here with you and that providing the space in these stories this year will hopefully just make it a little easier of a year on everybody and a reminder.
Yeah, for sure. And like know that the Sip and Saga Society is not just the three of us, but is also you, our listener. We are society together, and that's how we
Yes.
persevere as a humanity. So anyway, now onto our fun history. I'm so pumped, y'all. I'm so excited. I'm like gonna start like like
My
stimming.
palms are getting sweaty.
Anyway, so women have always been active members that have contributed to humanity in ways that we are just now starting to discover or hear about. My sources are the book Who Cooked the Last Supper by Rosalind Miles. I have only read the first chapter, I'm not even gonna lie, but this book is amazing. It's so good. It definitely like I love the title because I think we hear about Jesus a lot. America. Christian nationalism. But they didn't, it was the Last Supper. It wasn't the last gathering of random men just drinking wine. So somebody had to cook that supper. And who were those people? We don't know, but we may cover it later if everyone's interested in the idea. But I would highly recommend that book. It's really, really good. And I'll be adding it to our sources on the episode description as well as our website. I also used Discover Magazine, an article. I'm just going to give you the article name and you're going to be like, okay. Scientists still stumped by the evolution of human breasts by Bridget Alex is the article.
Whoa,
What? What?
not the
What is
boobs.
what is confusing about that?
Like why we have them. because like we are really the only species of animal or in the world that I know of thus far that has boobs. Like we develop breasts as at when we hit puberty. Most animals only have like engorged glands, boobs when they're
Mm,
pregnant or when they're, lactating and having a baby. But after they have the baby, the boobs go away.
true.
So why do
Okay.
we just always have boobs out
But what about gorillas? Don't they have like boobs?
like when they're having babies, but they're not really
Just
like,
when they're
I think for the
hmm,
most part.
hmm,
I'll have to look more into it. But specifically,
confusion.
that's why there's that question. Anyway, I thought it was a fun little like,
That's a
oh,
good
10 fact.
question.
Uh-huh. It's weird.
I didn't think about it, honestly.
I mean, most people don't. Like, why would you sit there and be like, I wonder where my boobs came from? Me on the regular. Where did these come from?
Why do I have them?
I know. So the evolution of early woman has been seen by male historians as no more than a sexual vehicle for man, literally.
True.
In The Outline of History by H.G. Wells, women are quote unquote fatted for marriage, protected slaves of the old male, so like the chief male, who was the master of all women. And that's how the tribes worked. That is H.G. Wells. And according to Robert R. Dream, menstruation was just the sexual jackpot providing fun for all and herself, like women, and allowed her a maximum of male attention. Because like if you're fertile technically like all the time, you're for the
You're
man.
you're like a feral cat.
All the time you're just ready to go.
Revving up on anything that'll
Mhm.
talk to you.
I mean, but really though, feral like cats that are in heat are terrifying.
They are
Remember?
feral.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, never remember when you lived with
Nova?
me? Oh my gosh. We didn't spade her yet because it wasn't time. And
Hmm.
like Nev had just moved in because they're waiting on closing on their house. I wake up and like Nev texts me and she was like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "What happened?" And I just hear like "Meow." And I was like, what in the world is that? And I like open up the door. I go into the kitchen and Nova is just like scooting her little butt back. And I was like, ma'am, no one is coming for you. Like, I'm sorry that
You
you're
have
no one's coming for you, baby. Like,
except the male tomcat in that neighborhood. You saw him a little
yeah,
bit more after that.
yeah, he could be coming up to the door like, I heard you call for me. Where's she at?
Not
Like, no.
sooner.
My
Yeah.
man is outside. I need to go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
It was not a
Sorry.
pleasant experience.
It's unsettling,
It was
honestly.
she almost sounded human. Like I can't recreate like that noise did not give it justice. Like it was creepy. Like me and Nev thought someone was in the house. And like we had like
There is someone in your
Easton
house. It's a
and
horny
JP.
cat.
Yeah, literally.
But I'd be like, I too feel like that, Nova, sometimes. I'll be honest. Ovulating, and that's me.
I was choked
Ovulating
on my
me is this
Keep
tea.
me out of the bars, girlfriend.
how we killed Christina. She choked on tea.
I almost spit it out.
So
Uh,
women were obligated. This is the men's history version of prehistoric history.
Okay.
So women were obligated to make sex sexier when we started standing up. So when we started standing up, we were able to have frontal sex instead of, just continuous doggy style.
Sorry.
I mean, it's history.
No, just
It's
the idea of
science.
like stand up make sexier. Like,
Okay, so
no,
like uh when you do the doggy style,
make do
you're looking at the butt, and so it's like, oh well, we got a butt, right? So then when we stand up and I'm having to look at your
yeah.
face, what do you have that is appealing to me? It's definitely not your face. So you
Mhm.
had to so the idea is that women had to grow breast because they needed to move their
Okay.
butts to the front to make them more stimulating, to make them more attractive to men.
Oh,
Right.
so you're
Because I
calling
can't
my boobs a front butt?
a front
I said what I said.
because I can't stick my dick in your like personality, So
Exactly.
get it together.
Women just evolved for the male benefit. Men
Dang.
were tired, and females were here to refresh them. Also, before I go on, I just want to clarify that, like, I do believe that there is more than just male and female. It is a spectrum. Sexuality is a spectrum. But for the sake of this series or this episode, I will be discussing it just very binary, but I'm very aware and I and
Yeah,
understand that it is
yeah.
not, there is more than just male and female, but just for the sake of the
We're
episode.
we're a part of the Rainbow Club
Yes, for
and
sure.
we support
Generalization.
it. Yes.
So men just want to kill, fuck, conquer, and women just live to give them what they want. That is basically the way that history has written cave people,
Which, to
Stone
be
Age
fair,
people.
like that is a very, I feel like growing up, that's how I
That
took my role as a woman. So like, yeah.
because that's what the cavemen did. Look
Yeah,
at that.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
this is how we are as animals. Like
Yeah.
this is what we were meant to do. And throughout time, historians and anthropologists have made similar claims. So what are we to do but just take what we have been given throughout time at face value and be like, this is the truth. Men performed all the evolving for the human race, and women idly waited, just lounging at home, dumb, barefoot, and pregnant, and just waiting for the man to come home with the bacon. Woo! But that
Which
is
would be
not.
fine if we had
The
money,
bacon.
but this is like
Okay,
horrible.
but this is prehistoric times.
Okay,
We don't have
sorry.
money. This is
Uh,
before we made money up so that we could leave the caves. It makes me so
uh,
mad when I think about
Coming
it.
home with the Jaguar. That's what it is, Ness.
So
fuck,
sorry.
That's
man.
the bacon.
No.
Also, Karina, this is a really cute picture. I hope that you saved it because we
I
were
hope.
all smiling, like perfect.
I
It's
hope.
like it's a very, what is it, organic? Like we're all laughing or smiling about
I saved
something.
it.
It's really cute.
Yeah, I
I
think it's cute too.
did.
Also, to backtrack just one, if I didn't have my voice partially gone, I
Mhm.
about fucking lost it when you were talking about the frontal sex and you were like, what is it? Because it's not your face. Because in
Yeah,
my head, that's literally the first thing that I thought. And then you're talking about the boobs being the front butt. And then I was like, oh, I was like,
I
damn.
do got a front butt.
I also just thought it, it's funny because you're like sexier and that I'm just like cavemen. Anyway.
So one of the most interesting facts in this book, like to me at least, was that the original human chromosome was carried by a woman. And all of the essential like material needed to create a human being comes from a woman. Scientists working at universities both in Berkeley, California, and Oxford have isolated one DNA fingerprint that is common for all of humanity. And this original blueprint for humanity can be traced back to one woman living in Africa about 300,000 years ago. Every human on Earth right now is descended from that one woman. And also, in the book specifically, they talked about how nobody knows what men were involved. We only know the woman. And I love
So,
that.
Karina, I think I read in that one Birth Keeper book, isn't it the mRNA Eve is what they call that gene too,
Hmm.
right?
I
Yeah.
think so. So, as quoted from the book, The First Sex by Elizabeth Gold, women are the race itself, and man is the biological afterthought. And it was like, what does that even mean, right? But every human being, every cell has an X chromosome. We have one at least. If you're a woman, you have two. You have XX. Those are your chromosomes.
Hmm.
Males have XY, and that's what makes them males. But some scientists say that the Y could have been a genetic error, and it's just potentially a deformed and broken X because
Oh.
we need at least one X to create a person. You cannot have two Ys and make a person. You have to have an X.
What would
And some people
happen
have
if you
like
had
two
two
X.
Ys?
I don't know. I don't think genuinely do not think you can make a person.
Oh.
You are required to have an X as a people.
But you can have like XXY,
You
right?
can.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that that's the thing.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
crazy. Well,
The
see,
future.
but even like this isn't the same thing, but like it was something like speaking of that,
Hmm.
it was like something that I guess found out that I just obviously never knew, but it was like whenever babies are like being created, right, or whatever, growing, it like essentially like as the baby is growing its genitalia regarding if it's a female or a male or whatever, like it, no, I don't want to say like from how I gathered it, but like basically like it almost starts off like a vagina, but
Oh
then
no,
like
they do.
if it, yeah, right,
When
and then
you're
it
when
like
you are a fetus, everything starts out as a girl.
as a girl. Okay,
Everyone starts out as a girl, and then it changes.
and then it changes. Okay, yeah. And I didn't know, like, I didn't know that that's how it was, is what I mean. Like, I thought that was crazy because I was like, oh, like, I literally thought it was like a very, what am I trying to say, like a strong divide on like,
Like it
oh,
starts out, you're a man
this
or you're a woman.
kind of, yeah. And I
It's
thought that was super interesting because that's what I'm saying, like, to what you were saying, like, how, yeah, with the XX and the XY. Yeah. I was like, oh, like, that kind of made me think of that.
and isn't it crazy that when you really, really think about it, and it's like, how have we never been taught this, that we all start out as girls? And it's like,
Yeah.
because let's remember who writes the books for the most part,
Yeah.
throughout most of history.
Yeah.
So, what was early woman doing at this time? Because obviously humanity did depend on her for her biology. Biology. I said it weird the first time. It made me feel strange. Anyway, but also we were dependent on woman's labor and skills and how those translated into our evolution. And you're like, what the hell does that even mean? So, early woman, like most women throughout history, was busy all day long. Most hominids lived a very short life at this time, and most died during their 20s, if not before their 20s, with only few reaching 30 years old, and every so often, when all the circumstances were right, maybe reaching 40. But 40 was like geriatric. Like
Ooh.
yeah, so I'm saying I'm 31 tomorrow. I will be falling apart immediately.
Well, and they still call pregnancies what? You're geriatric at 36, or is it younger?
35, I
It's
I
think.
like
absolutely
insane
hate that. That I don't know why that irks me, but
because you're not
that's
geriatric.
what I'm saying. Like, that's why it
Yeah.
bothers me.
My dusty
Like, you make
uterus.
it seem like I'm like, I don't know, like 70
The
pregnant.
creaky
You know what I
cupboard,
mean?
like I
The
shouldn't be
creaky
having
cupboard noise
babies.
when you open your leg.
Cobwebs,
Everything's just
spiders.
I
Oh my,
WD-40 that shit. Like I need help.
you know
Also
what though?
unrelated, if someone wants to steal this idea, a WD-40 lube would be hilarious. Am I wrong?
That would
But
be,
also give us royalties, Karina
At least like give
royalties,
me the $20 bill or something. Pay
or
for
just
my
instead
say,
of
stickers.
$20.
give me the acknowledgement.
At least yeah, to or put my podcast on it or something.
Yeah,
So women at this time spent their very short years doing the following: food gathering, obvi. Grunt noise is what I wrote. Childcare, weaving grasses, reeds, and bark into baskets.
that's so fucking boring, but also very hard.
I feel like I would really like basket weaving.
Not for me,
I like
but
to keep my hands busy. You don't have
I
to.
love,
See, I get frustrated easy,
I
so
like crocheting, but
Mm-hmm.
but like basket weaving, I don't know. It's
Mm.
just not my vibe, but you should try it out actually.
I really should.
You really
I
should.
don't have enough hobbies, so
You know, with that free time you have?
I have so much free time. Um, leather work, Nev vibes. Constructing
yeah.
I
shelters,
like the other.
making garments, slings, containers from animal skins, pottery,
That's a vibe.
hmm tool making, such as stone scrapers for skin, blades for cooking, cutting animals for skin or for clothes,
This is,
and making medicines for plants and herbs
are you
from
reading
plants
my,
and herbs.
maybe I should be a old prehistoric person because that all sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I was reading through these like just now and was like, you know who would love all this? Maybe Nev's just trying to return to her roots.
Not if it has me being a slave to man.
It doesn't. We're gonna get better. We will get better. We will make it. So this book makes sure to reiterate that at no point did women rely on males hunting for food, whether or not they had children. They were like, no woman was like, I'm really dependent on this guy to bring back this jaguar. Literally, we will go on. I'm gonna go on. Gathering food was the main way that the tribe ate and stayed alive. Meat from the kill came irregularly and infrequently. Working the daylight hours, women could gather up to 80% of the tribe's total intake on a daily basis. Just women gathering.
Eh.
Women gathered.
Okay.
I know. Women
When
gathered.
when
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say when women gather, magic happens. Like they just fucking hive mind, shit gets done.
This is why they keep us separated. Anyway, women gathered not only to eat and keep the tribe alive, but in doing so, they would learn the areas that they were gathering, figure out what's good to eat, what isn't safe, the different paths, and became knowledgeable in plant life and in the area. So that allowed them to make decisions based on the knowledge that they had gained and be able to pass on that knowledge to their children. And that like would help them make better and safer decisions so that they could survive, which makes sense, right? Like
So smart.
we live in the
Gener
area, we know the area.
generation wealth, if you will.
What was the first use of tools by early human? I'm asking this question. What do you guys think? Like when you think early tools, what is the first?
Like a makeshift like knife or like hammer,
Okay. Nev, any ideas?
What
maybe
did
like a spear.
for what?
For the
The-
first use of tools by man.
A stick, a rock.
Next.
It was a rock.
That was a rock. Yeah, that's why
It
I
was a
was.
rock.
Well, okay. So I was going with spear. So you
Okay.
were right. I was trying to think of like first, but no, listen.
Yes.
Let me no, but
But Nev, listen.
Nev is on the right
Rock.
page because the
Rock.
first use of tools was not for hunting,
Oh,
but
It was
it
for
was
murder.
for okay, no, let's stop trying to kill people. Every other turn is murder for you.
It was for crushing like berries and herbs and
Yeah,
stuff,
it was
right?
for smashing wood vegetation to make
oh,
it
that
easier to
makes
chew,
sense. Yeah.
as well as using sticks and stones to like
To break your
dig for
bones.
roots and
I
stuff.
almost said that.
See? Oh. Tools such as digging sticks with tips that they sharpened, and then they put the sticks in the fire to make them harder,
Smart.
Oh,
thus
We didn't come
making
from dumb people.
no, we're smart. We got the brains from somewhere.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They're
So
there.
then the sticks were extra hard, right? And so they could use them to dig and make it easier to dig. And then they ended up transferring this technology into hunting tools to impale and spear animals because the spears were then hard enough to go through skin and stuff because they worked on it. They worked on the technology. Another tool that women would use in this time is one that we continue to use today as women. What is like your number one accessory? Other than your phone,
Purse.
your phone doesn't count.
Is it your
Yes,
purse?
it's your purse, your bag. So this woman has to,
I'm acing this freaking
it's
pop
because
quiz.
it is your people.
I was gonna say that's literally Nev in a nutshell. Like anyone who wants to know what Nev is like, this is legitimately
Google the
her.
prehistoric woman. It's literally just Nev
Nev, but today in 2024.
with her freezer full of cowhide.
Yep.
That's a fun story. I thought I was gonna get arrested. Anyway, it's a good time.
Hey, but you're here. You made it.
I did.
So a woman is spending all day gathering. So she needs a bag to hold all the stuff that she found. You're not just able to like hold it in your clothes or you don't have pockets. They took them away from us.
They
So
never gave them to us, apparently.
exactly. No, we were like, I'm making my own bag. And the amount of food that they had to gather in order to survive just would not fit in their hands or clothes. They needed to be able to gather grass, leaves, berries, roots, slugs, which I was like, oh,
Eat a booger.
I don't want to. I feel very strongly about that. Lizards, ants, snails, grubs, and if they were lucky, they might find an egg or a fish.
Dude, eggs, I'd fuck an egg up. Honestly though.
Eggs are the best.
Bluebird egg.
I mean, if I'm a cave person, I'm going to eat it, but
Not now, but I was like, if I was a bluebird eater, a cave person, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Nev 100% used to eat bluebird eggs as a cave person. I can sense it. She's like, those are really good. You really should eat them. So women would gather the items and return home when their bag was full, and then they'd have to go cook it because the woman's job is never done.
I hate
Dang,
that.
they just working around the clock.
That's how we live. So you're out here gathering, but what happens after you have a baby? The bag is then adapted into a sling to carry your child with you.
Look at that multiple use.
Exactly. We stay
Love it.
hustling.
Okay.
Intuitive. What innovative? That's
Innovative. That's the word. Both intuitive and innovative. Woman.
Queen.
First, oh, yeah. Most women did not live past their 20s, right?
Damn.
Childbirth.
So there were no older generations to watch the children.
Ah,
You
like
can't leave your
today's
kids-
society.
You cannot
Yeah.
leave your kids with grandma. Grandma died a long time ago.
Man,
It's just
God
you
bless
and your
my
baby.
You do have a great mom.
Yeah. God bless her. She is a great woman.
Once again, shout out to Amy.
Yeah.
Amy, I
Amy
miss your
stays getting
phone.
shout out
Does she
on this
listen?
podcast.
You gotta
No,
tell her she keeps getting shout outs.
shot at.
Shout
What is this,
I
my
hope
house?
not. Karina, no.
Every day I live in fear when I go outside. It's kind of a joke, but kind of
Like
not.
kind of serious.
Yeah, for real.
So, yeah, there's no older generation to watch these kids. And hominid babies with their heavy brains and heavy skulls, and then as humans evolve, the brains just get bigger. We just get bigger.
And yet
And
they just
also, women have less hair on their bodies, like
we're
compared to
dolphins.
basically compared to most primates, we have no hair. So a newborn
Mm.
baby, like, what are they going to hold on to?
Yeah, true. Their dad. Because those men get hairy as they get older.
They really do. But, remember, we don't live past like 20, so humans have no hair and the baby is heavy, so we need a bag to carry the baby in. Human children also take a very long time to grow and become self-sufficient. For the most part,
Sure.
you're not going to be able to leave most children alone, at least for the first year and a half, 2 years.
At least 5. Because they'd be
Like,
eating berries they're not supposed to be fucking eating.
they always trying to kill themselves. Like, literally every child I've ever met is like, you know what we should do? Stick our finger in the electricity socket.
Let's eat rocks.
Ugh, every day is a struggle. So, past basic survival, human children also have to learn how to be human in the sense like socially. They have the burden of learning intellectually as well as the way society works. So, not only are you learning things that make you smarter, but also you have to figure out how to survive in with other humans. We don't just like go out and are by ourselves.
Yeah.
We are a social creature. The work of rearing and raising the children has fallen to women and primarily only women throughout all of time, from the beginning. Most points in history, if not all of them, women have been raising the future generation.
And we're tired.
We are tired.
Yeah, very tired.
I don't even have kids and I'm tired. Women shared food with their children, which became the beginnings of group cooperation and social organization. You cannot share food with your child and not recognize the benefits of community.
Yeah.
Social learning at its finest, people.
And starting at the beginning, in the smallest version of civilization. In a woman's role as a mother, she had to provide for a child in ways that go beyond their survival. They needed sheltering, comforting, play, as well as social activities with other mothers and their children. All of these activities raise IQ, which scientists believe are part of the reason that humans separated from the great apes. Because we went from past just being surviving, we went to society. We went to like togetherness, which
Okay.
was taught by mother. In the myth of the caveman, he knocks his mate on the head and drags her into the cave. There he hunts and brings home the bacon to the family. Yay, dad hunting, well, mom at home raising the children. That's the belief, which
With
we
a
did cover
lump
a
on
little
her
earlier.
head.
Yeah, poor mom. We humans conquered everything by being smarter than it, and then man just taking over and killing everything and just, I'm stronger than the world. In an effort to become an efficient hunter, he had to communicate and work on group effort in order to provide the spur of complex brain development. And this evolutionary growth became the beginning of society. That's basically kind of what you think, right? Like man
Yeah.
hunted and killed everything and was stronger, better, faster. Kanye over it. But
Yeah.
actually, most evidence shows that families were typically females and their children and their children's children, with most tribal hunting societies being centered around the mother, and most young males were driven out or left. These women-centered families did have males, but they were often casual and peripheral. In the book Sex and Society: Studies in the Psychology of Sex, anthropologist W.I. Thomas said were the women's and remained with the group. The beginning of civilization as we know it today was the woman and her children and her children's children, and the tribes that they live together of women and their children. Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable.
Me too, sis. Same. Not my internet, just me as a person.
I'm unstable.
Nevada.
Anyway, so let me try again. So the beginning of civilization as we know it today was the woman and her children and her children's children. And I think that that is like when I heard about it, I thought it was super interesting because when we think of our growth past into civilization, we often forget about the beginning, which was just a woman and her kids' kids just hanging out together all the time. I just thought it was cool. I think that is part of the civilization that is probably kept at the bottom, but without that, we wouldn't have where we are today.
It's true though. And
And I
I
think
Go ahead.
go
like
queen.
I think it's the fact of like being seen, being recognized, right? Like I don't need an award, I don't need a book written about me. I don't need I mean maybe educated would be nice, like educating people, but it's like yes, I understand that, you know, we're not out there hunting the animal and risking the life and all that stuff. But that doesn't necessarily take priority over the things that we have done too. And I think that's where people like on that fine line of being like, well, no, I want to be right or I want to be right. And it's like, it's not actually about being right. Like, it's about just recognizing, right? Like, just understanding that, hey, this happened too.
Yes, I
Just
agree.
that. Like, I don't need to be, I don't need a poster that shows a cave woman on top of the food chain. I don't care about that. But just recognizing that, hey, like she worked just as hard too in her own way.
Yes.
Like she's
Yes.
not trying to be the man. She's not trying to go get the Jaguar
We're
at
not
the
trying to take
club.
your spot. Calm
Yeah,
down.
we don't want it. Like, and that's the thing too, is like I do feel like, yes, anyone, and I'm gonna generalize this, anyone can do anything they set their mind to.
Yes.
But I'm saying, like, me as a person, and I feel like most people are like this, like, no one is trying to take anything from you, right? Like, I'm not trying to, like take Zach's job from him. There may be a
Yeah.
woman that could do it. That's great. You know what I mean? You work construction and you can do that hard labor. Go for it, girlfriend. But it's like, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, oh, I can do what you can do. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't. I don't want to do it. But it's like just recognizing too that even though I work in an office job, that in my own way, just understand and recognize that I also work hard too. I may not work
Hmm.
hard physically in that sense, but I also work hard too, and that's what it is.
It
Well,
comes
that and like that your job has value, that
Yes,
you're not sitting at
yeah.
home twiddling your thumbs.
right.
And I think that is one of my biggest like sh not shocks, but like the revelation from reading through all of this was that women's role is not a passive one.
Yeah.
It is a very
Yeah.
supportive, nurturing. Without women, we would not be here. And I think that is the part that's like really hard because I've never seen woman in this role in society.
Yeah.
I think that people often forget to acknowledge that we are all contributing to society. And
Yeah.
if it was just like in even theory, it's like yang, if it's mostly yang, then we're negating all of the feminine attributes and we have to have that balance. And so it's not man hating, it's we can appreciate women. It's women appreciation. It's not taking away. It's actually adding to the whole idea because without both sides,
Yeah.
we're off kiltered. It's about community. It's about acknowledging that the femme, the soft, all of that is needed. And it's not necessarily like Karina's saying, and like Christina says, it's not any less valuable. It's not any less hard. It's just different. And we value
Right.
that.
Yes. And that our feminine traits are not lesser. It's just the same
Yeah.
on a different spectrum. Oh
And
my
Yeah.
then
God.
it needs to
Yeah.
be valued outside of the min gaze. Like it needs to be valued outside of just that one lens. Like we are not valuable because you can use us. We're valuable because we also contribute to the
Yeah.
Exactly.
space.
Yep.
Exactly. I think that is the concise way of
You
saying it,
worded, yeah. Yeah.
for
You worded
sure.
that very well.
So, another fun fact of what women have contributed to society is the fact that, like, why most people are right-handed. And I love this fact. This is my favorite.
Ooh.
I know. I was so pumped. Well, this is one of my favorites. I have so many. I love all of this, but From the beginning of time, woman has made a custom of carrying her baby on the left side of the body. Also, this is by Nigel Calder. If I forgot to mention that, I don't remember. So, we're holding our baby on the left side of the body so that it can be comforted by our beating heart. And this leaves the right hand free for doing everything else. Thus, starting the
Yes.
Oh
evolution
my
of
gosh.
predominant right-handedness.
Because we also learn from our parents what hand to use, because I see it with Juniper. She'll use either hand, but she'll mimic me when she sees me using my right hand.
Yes. Or like they
Mm.
start with one hand because they see you doing it and then transfer over or something.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan will do that. He'll tell me his hand's getting tired. And so he'll switch it when he's writing.
That's
I
funny.
like that.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous.
Uh-huh.
But isn't that such a fun fact? I was like, because mom is trying to comfort us at all times, she's using just one hand to do everything. And I think that
Yeah.
all of us, just as women, have done that where you're like, I'm holding 17 things in my left side, so I'm having to do all this with just one hand because I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
Or like we've all held a baby, and or I mean, most of us, like the three of us for sure, have held a baby and you're trying to do stuff with the one hand. And I just think we've all been in that space where you're like, okay, well, I've got this one and that's it.
I have literally had Logan on my left, and I have gotten like I've poured Ethan like chocolate milk, and I'm talking about a whole gallon of chocolate milk, unscrewing it with one hand, pouring it, screwing the lid back on, putting the lid on, and giving it to him.
Or like making a bottle with one hand while you're holding the
Yeah.
baby in the other.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Also,
wild.
y'all are gonna love this next one. Another gift from woman to humanity is one of the funnest facts for me. Y'all need to take a drink if you need to, because you're gonna spit whenever I give you this next sentence. For the
Okay.
most part, when you look at typical primates, the male penis is unimpressive, quote unquote.
But it's true.
When I'm talking about typical primates like monkeys and apes and
Oh,
such,
you're not talking about humans.
not yet.
Ew.
Because
Okay.
human man, however, develops something disproportionately large to our body type
And we appreciate it.
and quote unquote can truly afford to feel himself lord of creation in the penile area in particular. And
I am Lord of the
he
penile.
owes it to woman because once again, we're going back to we went from doggy style to upright. So we're walking tall. And
Voluptuous.
that means that the vagina went from being just a little shallow thing to having to go a little deeper. It swung forward
Oh.
and up deeper into the body. So what does the penis have to do?
Get longer.
Follows the progress of the vagina and grow in order to get something it needed to reach.
Oh.
The
We are
ease,
nothing but
the
mammals.
wheeze, the wheeze, the ease with which most couples move between frontal and rear entry positions during intercourse is a constant reminder of the impact of women's evolutionary biology. Do you not love that? I was like, yes, I am the reason your penis is so big. You're
You,
welcome.
I love evolution. It is pro vagina too, just like me.
Yeah, same. I'm also pro vagina. But also, what more can humanity, get from woman? We have everything.
We are everything. We are goddess.
Exactly. But also, let's talk about the curse, quote unquote. The way that most people talk about menstruation is almost always with disdain. We're all pissed. We hate being on our period, which it sucks. If you've ever had one, it sucks.
I've
Christina.
had a couple.
I've had just a few in my life.
Oh,
It's this curse. But also, this curse, this evolutionary adaptation, which we very rarely think about it in that way, would preserve the human species from its extinction as well as ensure its survival and success. But how, Karina? Typically, in higher primates such as chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, they come into heat rarely and have one infant every 5 or 6 years. So the way that our fertility works is every month we release an egg. So in theory, every month we go through heat, our heat, quote unquote. What is it?
I'm in heat.
I'm heating right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Ovulation?
Yes, that's the word. I was like, oh, Oh, in the book they call it estrus a lot.
I'm nothing but a dog. Pete.
Once a month. Once a month. I'm gonna start yowling.
I was gonna say, start texting. I'm in my heat.
The cycle has started. So every month we release an egg, and it increases human productivity compared to other primates by 60 times, like 60%.
Hell yeah,
So we're
brother.
like, I mean, literally every month you could probably
Proficient.
get pregnant. In theory,
Proficient.
like you are able to, for the most part,
Until you are, and then
until
you
you're pregnant and
aren't.
then you can't.
Then you can't.
Hunting is not what made us greater in number than most animals, but this ability to multiply and conquer and basically be the Duggars all the time and be able to have a baby pretty much every year,
It's
that
long
is what
dicks
that's what
and
made it.
good ovulation.
Uh-huh. And so we
Sorry.
had long dicks and ovulation. That's the next sticker. But, it made us able to increase our population quick enough
And we
compared to other
did.
primates so that we kept having babies and we
And
kept
we
growing.
did.
We do. We have so many babies.
We enslave the women and we give them good long
That's what we
dicks.
do. Hmm.
Make
So
babies.
and so speaking of being on our periods, so what
Oh.
does women do during this time in this prehistory? I just was wanting to include this because I thought it was interesting. Um, so
Oh.
women can't just free bleed like you can, but I don't know. This is gonna be very
That's
visual. I was gonna say I don't know if anyone's ever peed themselves, but like
yes.
if you
It's
go to the beach or you get wet between your thighs and then they're just rubbing against each other, that is gonna be so uncomfortable. And if you're gathering all day, how are you supposed to manage that?
but it's also you can't control it. So
Right,
just to
exactly.
clarify, it's not like pee where you can like control not
I
peeing
can't
yourself.
stop my period. It's just coming out
When it decides to, yeah, it
when it
just
feels
is.
like it. And even
No control.
monkeys, exactly. I have no control over my bleeding. It is not a voluntary act, if anyone's ever wondered or been
There are
concerned.
some, so I just wanted to specify.
Thank you for clarifying, Nev, because I think we all need to know that women have no control when they start their periods and when they stop them. It just happens.
Yes.
Anywho, even monkeys have been known to take leaves and wipe spotting during their heat cycles. Wasn't that
Oh,
cool?
Oh,
wow.
that is,
Okay,
yeah.
bestie.
Women in prehistoric times and also in Stone Age communities, like I don't know if you guys knew this, but there's still hunter-gatherer communities
Yeah.
in very different parts of the world. But women in these communities would weave or fashion menstrual sling belts with some padding to absorb the flow.
Ooh.
Maori and Eskimo women have been known to use pads made of moss, and Azimba women in Central Africa use vegetable fiber pads held in place by goat skin belts sometimes. But regardless of what they use, anthropologists believe that they had to use something because once again, all the movements would have chafed and really irritated the inside of your skin. When it's wet and it's just grinding against each other, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Right.
But these menstrual products would not have been made out of things that would have been durable enough to make it to the modern era. A lot of the scientists said throughout all of these times that they didn't believe things that they couldn't see an evidence of a fossil. But like, how are you going to find fossils of like period pads?
Yeah.
Or one was like, I can't believe that menstruation changed anything because I don't see a fossil of an egg, like a woman's egg. And it's like, why would you find that?
What?
Dumb
We're
bitch.
not lizards. The
Okay.
only mammal that lays eggs is a platypus. I'm
The best of
fiercely,
the mammals.
that's pretty cool though. Don't let a platypus hear you say that.
You know what I found out on TikTok, supposedly? I might have to look into this, but that
Allegedly.
the platypus was the one that had the duck-billed bill
Yes.
first, and the ducks
Oh.
stole it somehow. And so really it should be I don't know how. I don't know how it evolved it. I'm not even gonna
Did they? Well, I mean, they both lay eggs, so
I don't know, but I know that the,
whatever.
the platypuses had it first, and I'm just curious about how the ducks got it.
That's beef between them.
I'm sure that they have some sort of rivalry.
Oh, they're
Mm.
like a Pokemon. One evolved into the other, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, and Pokemon are based off of real life animals. I learned that. Did you know that?
Are they?
Yeah, they're based off of real creatures that exist. Because the guy who created it, his child was like super, I think his child was like super into wildlife or some crazy shit. And so he
What the
like,
fuck was the Diglett made out of? Is it a mole?
I'll look it up. Who is the
I
I could
think
see.
Diglett
as
based?
as they started like progressing though, I think they started to like
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's some of them that you can tell that like I don't want to say they're running out of stuff, but like you know what I mean? Like
Karina, you
Christina,
were very specific though.
why? Well, I want to know. Diglett is the one that looks like dirt, but I think it is moles. Anyway, okay, let's go on because now we're the next subject is boobs.
Okay, it is
oh,
based off of
okay.
moles.
Oh, I was right.
Particularly those used in the game Whack-A-Mole. Those moles are rounded and pop up
Yeah,
and out like
That's
Diglett.
so
that
cute.
is really cute.
Diglett do be in everybody's business, though.
They
Anyway,
do be.
although research,
Bulbapedia, just in case. Bulbapedia.
I love that. Okay, although researchers have proposed various explanations for why women have permanent breasts, there really hasn't been a definite this is why women have breasts. But various theories suggest that it gave babies something to hang on to, quote unquote, like handlebars. It hurt my boob to think about, honestly.
I'm like,
I
oh hell no.
don't touch them.
Well, and even when JP was breastfeeding, I thought about punching her in the head at one point because she like bit my boob, and I was like, "You can't hit her. She's a baby. She'll know better. Get this human away from me."
I'm almost 100% sure most breastfeeding moms have been bit more than
Yeah,
once.
it's not
See,
fun.
I can't attest to that because breastfeeding did not work for me. But what is, you'll find this funny. But anytime like I happen to be changing and like Logan will like come in, he will always push my nipple like a button.
What the f
And it's really funny. Like he'll just get his little finger and like boop, and then he thinks it's funny. But
I could
one
see that.
thing, but to your point, the little handlebar thing, if I pick him up, and I kid you not, every time, and like Zach can attest to this, if I pick him up and I'm not wearing a bra and I'm just wearing a shirt, 9 times out of 10, whichever side I'm holding him on, he literally grabs my boob, like my nipple, like he's holding onto it. Like
Mm-mm,
it's
mm-mm.
How
No.
else is he
and
supposed to
his
stay
little
on?
hand is just yeah. His little hand is just
He's
like
like, vroom, vroom,
yeah.
mom.
I'm gonna have to look at pictures of you and be like,
Is
is
he
Logan
holding her
grabbing a
nipple?
titty? Another theory is that it could also have been used as an energy reserve, similar to camel humps, which I was like, sexy. It could, it
My
would be
humps, my humps, my
my
lovely
lovely
lady.
lady for storage and insulation, which is what they thought it was for, to avoid overheating. You like how I just transitioned real fast like that? Anyway, innovation. Since our
Super
ancestors
wild.
evolved near the equator, it would make sense that women needing to store to provide for nursing as well as carrying children would require more nutrients. Men
So
wouldn't have that same pressure, so and I just I just said, look at them with their less fat.
they're less fat. Okay, so maybe okay. So is this like probably this evolution happened around the time of like the Great Ice Age then? If that's the theory, right? If that's the
No,
theory
because
that
it you know how camels like it's like I think centralizing the fat so it's not all of your body and keeps you cooler.
oh, it keeps you cooler.
Yes, it
Hmm.
keeps you cooler. So
Yeah,
it stores
okay.
it
So
to
why are
save
they
for
different
later.
sizes? Why,
That I
because
couldn't figure out. I need to look more. But these are just theories because once again, we don't have like a for sure this is the reason. These are
okay.
different theories. And even in the book, they talked about like, well, women needed bigger boobs because they had heavy babies. And I was like, that still's not like a
That
definite reason to me.
makes no
But
sense.
anyway,
Okay.
but they definitely would have caught the attention of males.
Wait,
Hmm.
that might make a little bit of sense though. Not the bigger babies, but like when you have a baby, your boobs do swell,
Hmm.
Yeah.
They do get bigger. Like my boobs are much bigger now than they were when before I had a baby.
But maybe it's like to give you, well, and then I wonder too, okay, so if we're saving our good, like fat is saving, storing for future use. If we're saving and storing
Mm,
for future use, then you have a baby, you have, and then you gain more fat in your breasts.
yeah.
That's still more storage to keep you alive. Because if I
Why
keep
do,
you alive, it keeps my baby
oh,
alive.
and then you can have more babies
I feel like that would make sense.
because you're having
That
babies.
would.
Well,
But
I'm
also,
not,
these are all theories.
take it back. I don't want it anymore.
I don't want the boob fat.
You can have it back.
But also, boobs would have caught the attention of males. And thus the evolutionary trait would have continued on, which makes sense because boobs, if you have boobs, you can provide for babies. And now I want to have babies with you.
And what are you providing me, sir? A jaguar?
No.
It
Nothing.
does catch the attention of males, though. I can attest
It
to that
And
with my
does.
some
own husband.
females. Some
And
females.
some, yeah.
Me. But I am nothing like a man.
Sometimes I am.
Like Zach, I flash him all the time. Always. He's
I'm
always like,
consensual 100% of the time.
Also, yes, sometimes I'm looking, but I'm like, I would never. You know what? I did see a thing that was like the difference between women and men. And we do say, like,
I am
um,
like a man. You sent
right.
this to me.
Yes, I did. But the difference is that I never have looked at a woman and then like used her in my own alone times.
Oh yeah.
Like, usually if I'm saying that, it's because I'm admiring I'm like, oh, you look nice. But
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't like save it in my brain for later. I'm like, oh, what a pleasant looking human. And then I continue on my way and I don't obsess about them and stalk them or anything crazy.
oh, how respectable.
I
how
know.
like basic human dignity you got. Like the bar is on the floor.
Hmm.
Don't.
I saw I saw a TikTok that was like, it was like in hell and there's two like demons and they look at and there's the thing that falls through and they go, is that a bar? And they're like, yeah, it's going under us. It's going
Uh,
below hell. What? Anyway, that's it. That's the world right now. Anywho, let's go back to hunting. So how was hunting actually in
Scary.
well, probably. So overall, successful hunting meant teamwork in order to take down large animals such as
I've watched
reindeer,
Naked and Afraid.
horses, mammoth, bison, and my favorite, the woolly rhinoceros. Is that not so cool? Go ahead.
How terrified would you be to fucking take down a woolly mammoth?
This group effort meant that man did not have to face his prey one on one. Quote
Shared
unquote
trauma.
from past Karina, bitch was gonna die. This was it. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, I would never, we've all been to the zoo. You've seen the rhino. Imagine a woolly rhinoceros. So
Have you
we're
seen a
extra
buffalo?
large. Yes, they're scary. They're huge.
And they're
I am not,
fluffy.
I'm never, well, and then also, we don't have guns, guys. We don't have like
You get a
artillery
spear
weapons. You get a
and a
spear
rock
that you hardened in the fire, and you're like, all right,
and a
let's
rock.
go, Jimmy. Get him. Like,
Oh, pause. Speaking of that, woolly mammoth, have you heard about that guy freaking blowing away at the permafrost in Alaska to
no.
find not woolly mammoth fossils? They're frozen. They're bones. They're actual bones. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't fossilized. He allegedly, he said this on a podcast. Who knows if it's true? They did have woolly mammoth meat and he tried it. But like also all of the bacteria from that time. But anyway, woolly mammoth bones, not fossils. That's a fun FYI, DIY
It's like none of
fact.
us watched Jurassic Park and learned anything.
No, literally, I think it was, I don't remember if it was my niece, but like she was telling me something that she saw about like, yeah, we're trying to bring back the saber-toothed tiger. For what?
Yeah,
I th
no,
I
that's
think I saw that, yeah.
true.
And I was like, what
Why?
what are we
Because
doing with
men are
this?
in charge.
Guys,
That was
we could be trying to fix global warming, but this is priority.
nah, dude.
Saber-toothed tigers and Cybertrucks.
Nah, I want to see what a saber-toothed tiger driving a Cybertruck looks
If
like.
they keep this shit up, I will learn how to weave that damn basket. That's right. Because
That's
I'm not
that's
doing that shit.
I'm gonna
Honestly,
I'm gonna weave a basket.
me, Karina, Christina, we could create a community. No problem. Look at that.
Mm-mm.
Basket weaver, Karina, you have a lot. I don't know. You do a lot of hobbies. Honestly, you got a lot to handle.
If you
Uh,
want a half done painting, I'm your girl.
I will hunt the meat.
Nah, I would gather shit. I would 100% gather
See, look
shit.
at you.
But honestly, the ADHD would ADHD. I would find a cool rock and be like, my bag is full of rocks and that's it. So,
And I know that we would have the most amazing houses. That's all I
oh, for
gotta
sure.
say.
Yeah, they would be
And
covered in rocks.
exactly. And
Talk
we
about
got rocks to
gathering.
throw at people.
Oh, God,
How
don't throw
how
rocks
else
at
are
me.
we gonna kill rabbits to eat? I'm just saying, not without rocks.
Speaking of killing, so the group effort meant
Yay!
that man did not have to face his prey alone. And so we faced prey in hunting as a group. And for the most part, most hunting endeavors did not occur, or like most gathering meat expeditions were not like everyone's just constantly chasing animals and killing them. For the most part,
Because
they
that's
would
absurd.
Yes, it is also, imagine how much energy that would take
No,
every
no
time.
good.
We only live to 20. We can't just be chasing shit.
Not smart.
So most of the time they would set up traps. So like they would drive animals over cliffs to their deaths, or they would dig a hole, put stakes in it, and then the animals would fall onto the stakes and die. We would have like a group of men that would come by and check, and then women would follow and then process the meat and then take it home with them. So the men would come by, make sure everything was dead, and then the women would come by and gather it all. Most forms of hunting would involve preying on slow moving creatures like turtles, wounded animals, females about to give birth, two in one, or or
You know what?
carcasses that have been abandoned.
Placentas is all I got to say. I've
Well,
heard they're
that, and
really good for
also
you.
if you're trying to feed your tribe of people, it makes sense to go for a pregnant, slow animal.
Listen, it's not personal, it's just survival.
Well,
Difference.
exactly.
You can't hate the player.
Well, not, no. And if we're trying to make it to tomorrow, you got to do what you got to do.
I would eat a baby.
Okay, clarification, non-human baby.
I was gonna
Animal
say,
baby.
not either of your babies. Lamb,
Okay, that
yes.
means that you would eat a human baby. I wouldn't eat your babies, but maybe others. That is what I heard. But a lamb,
A
I'd fuck
lamb.
a lamb up.
I would eat a lamb. For
For the
Y'all
sure.
better
record,
hide your lambs.
Hide your
or your
lamb.
babies, because we do not know. Um, my
The
baby's
mystery.
safe though. That's what I heard.
You're-
My not born baby is safe.
I ain't worried about it.
Fine.
Bye.
For the record, I would not eat anybody's baby. I've been vegetarian for 20 years. I will continue to vegetarian. Thank
I'm
you.
not eating human babies.
Okay, it took you really long to say that. What?
Speaking, Karina, I did watch a Naked and Afraid where a girl basically photosynthesis the 21 days because she was a vegetarian and she did fine. She survived. So
Okay, I can make it to 21 days, but for how
she's,
long?
I'm just saying, she sat on a rock and meditated and drank water. I don't know. Not me.
Oh, that's impressive.
That is impressive. I would get so angry. I
Then
would
Yeah.
you'd come and eat my lamb. I'm just
I would
saying.
not eat the lamb. I would probably eat the person I was naked and afraiding with. The
Sorry,
lamb,
buddy, you gotta
the
go.
lamb didn't do anything.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue on. So, anthropologists cite Stone Age Yakuger of Siberia, where men would send out a party. Oh, yes, this is the one where they party to check the traps while women came up later to dismember the carcass and transport it home. They would use the carcasses for food, clothes, shelter, bone tools, and bead ornaments. Rocks. Prehistoric man was not this angry, solitary fighter. The only real instance that man would use his aggressive fighter nature was as a protector, in protecting infants and overall the group. This was the biggest, like, division of labor in these tribal communities was that women would care for the infants and men would protect the group,
What a great flip.
which makes sense. Men are typically stronger than
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Get it?
why wouldn't it make sense that man is to protect the group?
Can confirm.
But these divisions of labor also remain consistent in primate and primitive groups to this day. When men fought and killed, they did so in fear under life-threatening attack. It was for survival. The protection of the group was crucial to the survival of man and the tribe. Men and women only became human when they could learn how to take care of others. Anthropologist John Stewart tells a story originating from modern day Iraq, where a man crippled by a right arm that was amputated just above the elbow. He was okay, so like they found this fossil of a man and he's 40. So he's a primitive man who's 40. He's elderly AF. In I said ancient in Neanderthal years, and he suffered from arthritis. He was also blind, so he's missing half his arm. He's blind, he's old, and how does he survive? By the help and care of his companions. This mutual help of a quote unquote useless member of society who was unable to contribute anything really says much for the high social development of early humans because they could have killed him. They could have left him and abandoned him and been like, bye, bro. You can't do
Yeah.
anything. You can't hunt. You can't gather. Why are you here?
That's
But
what
they took
wolves
care of
do.
him. But they took care of him. Right. Exactly. I mean, even the wolves do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like the reality of prehistoric man is that he was more than just a savage out there killing things. But there was still violence and sexual aggression during this time, but also women were more than slaves only meant to meet the needs of man. But women also during this time had more chance of freedom, dignity, and significance. Men in these hunter-gatherer societies do not command or exploit women's labor, and women are able to take on roles such as counselors, white women, leaders, lawgivers, magicians was one of the categories.
Oh,
Women's role has always been wider, and their evolutionary contribution more than just serving man as a vessel for his carnal pleasures. So, women's roles have been more than just sitting at home waiting for this man to show up. And I think that is the biggest takeaway from this episode was that we are more than just boobs, babies, and that's it,
Boobs, babies, and butts.
front and back butts.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. You know what's funny is that in yoga we do like we have to pull our shoulders back and they call that back cleavage. So it just made me giggle when you're like front butts, which are your boobs.
You're gonna laugh when you do that later.
I
Anyway, so what did you guys think of our episode today?
It's great. And now when I send your package, when I get around to it, I'm gonna send you the history of thread work because I think you're gonna like that.
Me,
It's
threads. You know what I really like, Christina? Threads. I
okay,
I
okay.
like the history of anything, honestly.
It's literally called women's
Ooh.
work. The first 20,000 years, women cloth and society in early times.
Yes.
Which if I had known, I was like, man, I should have just sent this. It's actually so fucking good, dude. I got it for $1.
Oh, that's
Knowledge for
amazing.
$1.
That's amazing.
It's really good. I read it. I was like, fuck me up. It's so good. Anyway, I
Ugh.
will send that to you. You will love that.
No, I really will. I
No,
have so
you will.
much. I have so much history books or so many history books in my collection. I
Like,
love
look
that
at the
look. No, and I felt like this was a really good episode to start out on.
it's strong. I like it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
And this is just one chapter from that book. One.
that was only one chapter.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't that amazing? And so I'm thinking I'm not doing the whole book, but I'll probably do um like a couple of the middle chapters, specifically like
Yeah.
the biblical times one, I think would be really fun. She does
Yeah.
cover the book is like she covers basically how we began to worship the goddess
Mm-hmm.
and how we took away that power. Like genuinely, if it's good and if people don't mind, don't mind going through the rest of the book and being like, oh, this is like doing a couple more chapters from it because it's I thought it was fascinating. And then like the transition.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I definitely think I'm always interested in learning more about women's history.
We
And
need
it's
to remember our power.
we need to share it. It's in us. They can't
Sure.
take it from us. So I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, any comments, Christina, before we go?
About
Yeah.
today's
Yeah.
discussion. No, it was really good. I really enjoy this type of content because I feel like it leaves a lot for like open discussion as far as our different like I feel like for the most part we all have like a lot of the same thought process, but it was nice to kind of see like different views because we also are different people too and like we also believe in like different things, we have different personalities. I feel like I really learned a lot. I think it's cool to have that kind of like a seriousness to it, but then also that kind of like like enjoyable, the even the pleasure part of it, but like the fun and like, the well, did you know this kind of like I love facts like that because like I don't know, stuff like that's just very interesting to me. And I feel like not that like I don't want anyone to think that I like live under a rock or anything, but I guess I don't like read as much as I should or like expose myself to a lot of things. And so learning new things from you is honestly it's one of my favorite things here recently. Um,
To make me cry.
but it really is because like Zach, because like I'm sure with you, like Evan's the same way, Colton's the same way. But like Zach knows all of this like random stuff. And like he'll like say something and like in my head, I'm like, oh, I never knew that. Or like, you know what I mean? I'll be like, where did you learn that? And he's like, oh, I just read this and it, blah, 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 blah. Or like a long time ago, like I came across this. So it's kind of cool that like now I'm getting like my own version of that, of like, like different things and different topics and different discussions, whatever you want to call it, facts, like are being brought up that like I never would have thought that I would learn about. Or
Right.
like even when you bring up a topic that I think I know something about, it's not what I thought it was. And it's something completely different. And I'm like, oh, like that's not where I thought that was going. And so, like you said, it's kind of cool. Like it's kind of cool to, it was a good topic because like whenever you're talking about like the caveman, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like one of those topics. It's just like you said, it's just about the man. It's just about what he did. And then
Yeah.
talking about like what the women did and stuff. It was just, it's really cool to,
Well, and I think it's also really refreshing to kind of sit in your own power
oh yeah.
as a woman,
Yes.
like just from my position in society, not in the same way, but like, okay, so growing up, I was raised in the South, and for the most part, I was you like we were raised in Northwest Arkansas. I was used to seeing people of all different colors. And so whenever I went further south and went to college, I was the only Hispanic woman in the room. A lot. And I had people ask me for my green card one time, like literally.
Ew.
And so I
Oh,
know. And so I'm sitting there and I'm sitting in a space where my experience is very unique. And I felt so alone, right? And I think that in having these discussions about things that we are not very knowledgeable about, it enables us to remember that we're not alone. And
yes.
especially in a day where like as a person who goes through a lot of depression, it's easy to think that you're by yourself a lot, but you're not.
Yes.
And it's like, God,
Yeah.
other people have lived before me, and we being human is a shared experience.
I think for
Yeah.
me, I want to say a few things. Like, Karina, first of all, I want to thank you so much again for always putting in so much effort to do research and to bring
Oh
these
yeah.
topics to share with us. But I also want to share that, like, I think when with this particular topic that you shared on, it's sweet because I grew up thinking that I had to be more masculine to be appreciated. Otherwise, like, or like that idea, not not essentially like the pick me girl, but like, oh, I'm not like other women because I don't want to be seen as derogatory. I want to be seen as like appreciated in society. So I always pushed forward this idea of like, no, I am strong. I am this, but in a very masculine way outside of like, it's you're still strong when you are feminine, and that's okay.
And being soft is not being weak.
Yes.
And I think that's really big on like with now, right? Like you have a lot of these women that are like, oh, like it wasn't until I met like my person as far as like whether if it's your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever. But like in this case, right, when we're talking about like women and men together, right? There's a lot of women that were like, they grew up in this world where they thought they had to be kind of like what Nev was saying. They thought they had to be a certain way. They thought they had to kind of make themselves like stand out, right? Or be seen or be noticed or recognized. And then they meet this man, and before you know it, guess what, baby? You are in the kitchen cooking dinner for him or whatever, right? But it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm a trad wife or blah, 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 blah. But it was
Yeah.
like that, what do they say that soft girl era
The
or whatever?
feminine.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
like when you bring out that feminine side, that soft feminine side of that woman, that she starts to feel comfortable with you, or she starts you break her of that like survival mode of
I get
Yes.
being,
what you
you know
mean.
what I mean?
Where
You're
I
And it,
have to be like hard and like, like I'm
yeah,
here
yeah, yeah.
you have to
all the
Like,
prove
time.
yourself versus like you're able to be appreciated for what your attributes are, whatever they are. You're just appreciated for what you want to do
hmm
versus you have to be this because that's what the patriarchy or that's what the society told you. Like it's gross, it's ungood for you to be a soft woman, or like it's not seen as important to do these like softer things. You got to be like, man.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice to like be with someone. Because like even for me personally, and like Karina, you knew how like my upbringing was, and it wasn't terrible, right? Like I haven't gone through a lot of the things that my personal friends have gone through, but in coming from like this, strict Asian household where it kind of was like, even though my mom was a full-time worker, like she still was everything else. And then my
Yeah.
dad was just the man that worked too, right? And but like my mom did everything else. And then it was like eventually they did start to evolve to where it's like, like, and thinking about it now, it's like kind of crazy where you start to see like give and take. So before it was like all on my mom, she had to stay home and take care of the kids. She had to do this. And then before you knew it, it was like, well, now we're not making enough money. So guess what? We both got to work. And then guess what started happening? Things started dividing, right? Well, mom works in the morning and dad works at night. So, mom had to get up and take the kids to school, but dad had to pick the kids up from school and bring them home.
Right.
And
Like
you know
an
what I
even
mean?
division of labor. Different type
Right.
of labor,
Yes.
but it's
Yeah. But it's,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then, it's like the little things of like, even with me, like I had been in a lot of relationships. Like I've been in a relationship where it was, you know, my boyfriend at the time, like he was the one working and he kind of provided. And then my next relationship, the roles were completely switched. And like I was the one taking care of two people on one paycheck. And it was real hard. You know what I mean? And like stuff like that is just kind of crazy because that puts you into this like mental state and this like when I met Zach, like I was a very like, I don't need you, girl. I
Yeah.
don't
Hmm.
need you. I took care of this other man. You know what I mean? Like, what do I need you for? Right.
You
Yeah.
had your
And it's,
guards up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like for me to like start to trust him and not necessarily like that I had this wall, but I kind of did that kind of got broken down. And it's like he sees that I work hard and when he comes home, he helps me with the kids. And I see that he works hard too. And, and we try our best. We may not be traditional husband and wife, but, yeah, does he mow the grass? Yeah, because I ain't gonna do that shit. But do I wash the dishes? Yeah, because I know that he's not gonna do the shit. Would we
Hmm.
ever trade? No. You know what I'm
No, Evan
saying?
will not wash the dishes.
Yeah, but it's just like one of those things where it's like I don't know, like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it's one of those things that like you just do, right? Like
Well,
you
because
do
you
this.
care for each other.
Yes, right.
Hmm.
And
And the act of caring is not a weaker, submissive act. It is
right,
what makes us human
right.
and what makes us family. Yes. Because
And
you care about each
being
other.
yeah, and like, like that's what I'm saying. Like I never thought I would be this mom, in the kitchen making dinner for everyone and washing dishes and, doing whatever. Or when dad's mowing the lawn, all of us are outside watching him mow the lawn or whatever. Like it's just crazy how like your life can really transition into something different when you start to really trust and let go and being able to be recognized, right? Because that's kind of like the
Hmm.
whole point of this thing is like being recognized that, like, you know what? Yeah, you work hard too. Like,
The
we both deserve
appreciation.
it. Yeah. And the appreciation of it. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, I don't have a perfect marriage, but like, it's good. You know what I mean?
No, I
And
get
it's
that.
nice. Like,
Perfect's boring anyway.
yeah.
I like to complain about things. So
Stop.
Even perfect thing. This is not fun enough. I need something more exciting.
exactly. I wish I could complain.
I want to complain more. I'm
Actually.
bringing nothing to brunch. This is boring. But honestly, yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys and I'm super excited for this year's upcoming episodes. I think this is definitely the way that I wanted to open up the year. I have been really kind of struggling with how I want to approach the upcoming episodes for this year. And I think a lot of us spent November kind of feeling a little um,
Sad.
disheartened.
Straight up depressed.
And I think that, like I said earlier, if remembering that love and caring for each other is not a bad thing, and remembering that we are a community and that we have made it through terrible things as like
Mhm.
humans, I think that that is a good message. And um, as an aside, like I have been really struggling with like what I feel my calling is for the world, and like I feel like I could succeed at this and do good, and I think that as we've gone through this episode, for me, that this is the message that like because I know that I have a purpose and I've been like there's a message I'm trying to send out and I think that if this is it there's worse things that I could share with the world, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that and I think it helps a lot of women, especially in America today, know that they're not by themselves. And if you're a woman that has been really a big fan of the trad wife movement, but you're not wanting to be conservative, you know, submissive, whatever, but you like
Yeah.
taking care of your family and you feel guilt about that, it's okay. You're allowed to care and take care of your family. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like that. Like it's become very, everything is very gray, black and white. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
if you're
Well,
a
and a lot
mom,
of
you're,
things really have like a negative connotation, like with it now. And it's
Yeah.
like you're in control of how you feel and the things that you let bother you. Don't let this one little thing just fuck up your whole day. Go ahead, Nev.
I think I agree with that in the sense that like especially after all of the voting and everything came through. I'm a
Yeah.
big pro-choicer, we all know that, but I have a lot of big opinions about a lot of things about like sovereignty and people being allowed to do what's right for them. And so I felt personally like a lot of rage. Like I was mad at everyone. I was willing to freaking cut ties. Like I was willing to be the biggest cunt you ever met if you dare try to tell me I was wrong in a lot of these aspects. And I think that because the reason I felt that way particularly is, we were told to like shut it down as a kid. We are not allowed to be vocal. We're not allowed to feel none of this. I felt like there was just like this really big opposition of you are either like overfeeling, you're sensitive or whatever the case may be. Um, I really feel that oftentimes we forget, once I brought it back in, that we forget that nobody can really take our sovereignty away from us. And we are allowed to feel these feelings and we are allowed to be voiceful about it. And we are allowed to share this discomfort with everybody in our community if they can hold space for it. It's not our fault that other people are not able to also sit with that discomfort without absorbing it, without being like, hey, I can understand why you're rageful, why you are mournful, why you're feeling the
Mhm.
way you are. I can't fix that for you, but I'm here to absorb it for you, or like sit, not absorb, but sit here and listen to it. Um, And so I think that a lot of times people ask us to stop feeling our feelings because it makes them uncomfortable versus just recognizing and like sitting with us and letting us work through it. And then as a community, recognizing that together we are sovereign, together nobody is taking our power from us, and that we can continue forward however that may be for us. I've had a lot of
Mhm.
feelings around like I'm kind of what is considered a trad wife, right? But I don't have any conservative values. And so, like what you were saying, Karina, I too feel some shame around what I'm doing and the point that I just enjoy serving my family. But I don't think that people who want to have jobs and women who want to be in the workforce and want to provide in a different way for their family are any less valuable. And so I really do see the dystopia between the two realities very much on this like pendulum swing of like, oh, I'm right, you're right, I'm right, you're right. And I don't think anyone's right. I think it's very multifaceted. It's not one way or the other. And we have to live in that gray area. But we also have to understand that every one of us has the power, has the sovereignty to do what we need to, especially if we rely not on the government, but rely on each other. Like whether it comes to abortion accessibility, whether it comes to food accessibility or childcare accessibility, if we realize that we can rely on each other, the women, especially in the community, because I've noticed
Mhm.
that the more I speak to women in my community, the more abundance arises in what other aspect I need it. Like, oh, I have this question. I don't have the answer, but I can ask a friend. They might have it, or they know another woman in the community that has it. And I think when we drop back to that we're the portals of our true power, that it helps alleviate not all of the uncertainty that's going on in the world, but it definitely holds a lantern in the darkness for us.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think one of the, I feel like personally big words that you used a lot when you were talking is understand. And I think that's what people don't, they're not open to, right? Because I even had a discussion with someone about politics, and I was like, oh, I don't discuss politics at any point. Like, you can believe what you're going to believe. I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to carry it on further. And the thing about it is then it started turned to an argument. Oh no,
Mm.
you just don't want to
Ugh.
hear. And
People
my
do
thing
love to
too.
fight each other.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like someone was like, "No, we can talk about it. We can agree
Mm-mm.
to disagree." And my thing is I'm like, "No," because like you said, understanding. You're not coming from a place of understanding. What you're
Or
trying
wanting
to
to learn.
do, yeah, what you're trying to do is try to convince me why you think you're right, right? Which is why we don't
Exactly.
talk about it. So like my thing is I'm not going to sit here and have this conversation with you because all we're going to do is bicker back and forth and talk about, well, this is why I believe this. And no, this is why I believe that. And this is why we don't talk about those things with people that don't have the same mindset, because it is a matter of who can I convince? Who can agree with me that I'm right? Who can tell me that I'm right? And that's not it. Like that's not
Or undereducated people who are
right.
just they're cherry picking vast information to
Yep.
fit their agenda to
Yep.
get it across because like people they'll meet me. I'm not conservative in a lot of ways, but there are a lot of ways. But that's like I'm the
Right.
same way with you. One, I cannot have a respectful conversation about human rights if you are against any type of human right. And two, I'm very blatantly honest about that. This is my boundary. You're coming at me. I'm telling you, this is my boundary. I'm not going to have a blatant conversation with
Yeah.
you about this because I will get disrespectful. Like I go from educated to hood really fucking quick when it comes to
Yeah.
human rights.
And this is just something that we don't, and that's the thing that people don't understand is
The bar's just
when
still
you
going
tell
past hell.
someone that, like, that should be the hard stop of, you know
Hmm.
what? We don't need to carry on this conversation any further. But going back to what you were saying about community, I'm a part of a mom's group on Facebook and like seeing that community per what you were saying. Because sometimes those mom groups can kind of get a little messy because people are very
They can.
opinionated. But
Yeah.
I have seen here recently, like so many moms, like the village, I mean, it's NWA moms, and it is just amazing how women come together and really help people. Like moms that are like, I can't get out of work. My kid or like my kid, it's winter break. I need them to be picked up, from this to this. Like there was a mom in the comments, oh, well, I go out that way. I can pick your kid up for you. Like just message me and we can get the details. Or
As
like
much
there's
as I
just
respect this as a community thing, I would never do that. But I love that they're there for each other. I would
Yeah.
right,
never do that.
right, right. Like
But
I
I
have
don't,
a
I'm
hard
a true
time.
crime girl. I don't trust
Right.
nobody.
But
Yeah.
it's crazy how like very helpful. Like, and I mean, there have been moms that have asked about like legality things.
Hmm.
And I mean, there are people that like, and it's really cool to see people come together because like, there may be a mom that's like, well, this was my situation and this is what I know. But then there might be another mom that's like, hey, like I have had a similar situation, but like this is not how it went. So like please try not to like spread
Oh, yeah,
misinformation and you know what I mean? But it's kind of cool to like see them come together and really
yeah.
try to
Hmm.
help this
Yeah.
person that needs something. And I mean, there's been
Because it's a
multiple
community.
people. Yeah,
Because it's community.
because there was one mom that's like, we don't know what to do. I forgot what is it for. It's her business anyway, but like she's like basically she needs some help with her kids. Her
Hmm.
family 2 hours away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like there was so many people in there that are like, I recommend this person. And it was nice to see, because speaking of trust and true crime, but it was nice to see a lot of the women in the comments that were like random, not random, but like different people recommending the same person was also
Oh,
very
yeah. From like
comforting to
all over.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like there'd be one girl that'd be like, "Oh, so and so is great," and then like another person would join that comment and be like, "I also recommend her. Like she's wonderful."
Hmm.
And so it's kind of nice to just have that community and kind of like what Nev said, like not having to rely on like the government or whatever, but just being in the community and having that safe space of like these women or whoever like that just have your back and is truly there to help you. And it just, I don't know, sometimes it makes the world seem like not so bad. Like it makes it seem, what is it, like on a smaller scale when you have
Mm.
that community, right? Like it brings like everything kind of in a little bit more. It's a little bit more personal. And I feel like as a mom, like there's no comforting feeling than being like you are just being held by like other moms and like other people that
And
understand.
other people that have been in the same
Yeah,
position that you have
yeah,
been.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
You are not alone. And if you ever feel alone, you should always reach out. And I know that sounds so cheesy,
But it's true.
but it is true. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel alone, reach out because there is somebody who has the space to give kindness, has the space or the resources to share, and they want to. Community is eager to engulf you like in a giant blanket. Like,
No,
Mhm.
literally,
or that's just me, but
no, but literally, there's been moms in the group that are like, my daughter lost her little stuffy, or my daughter had like a little purse and she lost it. There has been so many moms in that comment. Oh, if she doesn't find it, like, let me know. I have the money to buy her another one to replace it. Like, there was so many moms that were willing to like replace items for kids because it was special to them.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was so, it's just, I don't know. It just really, as like a mom, like, because like you never know who's struggling. And a lot of the time, like, they want this, the hopefully to find the missing one because it's got loved on. But it was just really cool to see that.
Hmm. Just the community of it all. Okay, so
we got
I'm
off
gonna
topic
we
a
did
little.
wander off. But no, I think that the like overall this is kind of who we are as people.
Yeah.
We are big community people, and um I am just super excited for what the year will bring for the podcast specifically. Like what stories we can put out and
Maybe a
what
future girl
community
trip.
maybe
I know you're
YouTube
busy.
videos. I mean, I'll girl
Ooh,
trip.
I'll girl trip
Um
to New Mexico.
uh, oh. Anyway, okay, focus. I was going to
Okay.
say something and I got distracted, but yeah, I think that all these topics of community and then remembering that community is what has not only kept us alive and what has kept it like what used to keep us alive, but like that we are not alone, that we will continue to, be lights in each other's lives, and especially in these really troubling times for a lot of us and really uncertain times. But I'm really, really excited just with this episode alone because I'm very proud of it. And I feel like we really have showcased kind of what we want to be as like a brand and as a community. So,
Yay.
anyway, as always, thank you so much, our listener, for joining us on another episode of Sippin Saga Society. If you have any histories, mysteries, or stories you think should be told, feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook at sipandsaga_society or visit our website at sipandsaga.online, where we will always be there to listen, read through an email, discuss it, whatever. But thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you the next one. Let us know what you thought of our episode for sure. But bye.
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 I'll have to like space it out. Hold on, my mouse is having a moment.
Me too, sis. Same.
Every day is a struggle.